we replaced it with the Clemente.
Hi, I'm Holt McCallany, and you're watching Real Fans, Real Talk.
Face, what up? Real Fans, realtalk.com. Where Arthur Diamonds, Trip Yung, and intern Tom. For the white and black fans, Asia to Manhattan. I get all my facts from my bro, Mark the Statsman. If you're not tuned in, I recommend the CAT scan. And if your brain checks out, then you deserve a backhand. Sports, gossip, all the hot topics. Real Fans, realtalk.com got it. They got the hottest bloggers. Is Jeremy Lin hurt? Well, log onto the site and you can hear it from them first. I'm talking about the latest. I'm talking about the greatest. Go check out the archives. Even tell a neighbor. Tell them Bobby sent ya. From spring to winter. Tuning in should be the only thing on your agenda. Certified cosign. You know what I'm about, son. Real Fans, realtalk.com. I'm out, what? Real Fans, Real Talk. Real Fans, Real Talk. Real Fans, realtalk.com. Real Fans, realtalk.com. Real Fans, Real Talk. Real Fans, Real Talk. Real Fans, realtalk.com. Real Fans, realtalk.com.
Finally, Trip Yung has come back to Real Fans, Real Talk. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another live episode of Real Fans, Real Talk. Of course, I'm the one and only Trip Yung, fresh off taking my talents down to South Beach. I had to make sure that Miami made it past the Pacers, so I stayed down there longer than I was supposed to, enjoying that beautiful weather and the beautiful scenery. But we got a lot of sports to get into this week. But first, let me introduce my right-hand man, Mark the Statman Skevich. What's going on?
Hello, everyone. Good to be back for another live episode of Real Fans, Real Talk. Mark the Statman Skevich in the building. We got a lot of interesting sports topics to talk about today. But first, we're going to get it started remembering one of the great legends in football, Trip Yung. Can you tell the folks out there a little bit more about Deacon Jones?
Yes, indeed I will. R.I.P. to Deacon Jones, one of the greatest defensive football players that we've seen. You know, this is the man that coined the term sack. So all of these guys that's, breaking the sack records, Michael Strahan, getting these high numbers, it all started with this man here, the way he put a hit on a quarterback and he just called it a sack, how he just laid him out. He's a Hall of Famer. His jersey was retired by the St. Louis Rams, who he played for. He also played for the Chargers and the Redskins. 8-time Pro Bowler, 5-time All-Defensive, first team, and he actually has the unofficial record, which I guess it's technically is the real record. They just weren't counting sacks at that time, but it's because of him. But he had 26 sacks in a season, and in another season, 24 sacks. In 67, he had 26, and then again in 1968, he had 24. So, what are you going to do with that?
I mean, it's not, like you said, it's not official record keeping at the time. They didn't even have the term sack at the time. It was just like another tackle when it was the quarterback. So he invented the sack, and also something that changed since then. If you were an offensive lineman, you didn't want to be the tackle lining up against him because you were getting smacked, and he was famous for his ear smacks, where he would just basically beat the offensive lineman off the side of the head. And offensive linemen were saying that their ears were ringing for the remainder of the game when they got hit in the head by him. That's not legal anymore, but that's one of the other things out there.
That was the Deacon for you, though. You got to take him to church on that one.
Right, but once again, rest in peace, Deacon Jones. But
Matter of fact, we got a little tribute we don't put together for Deacon Jones, because I know, unlike myself and the Statman, some of you fans that watch Real Fans Real Talk are a little young. Statman, you were around for Deacon Jones' his first game as a rookie. So
he
we
gave me his jersey after the game.
We got some footage of that.
Home.
I didn't know the clips I managed to pull. You weren't actually in the clips. I looked, but we managed to put together some clips of Deacon Jones.
Well, I was a lot younger and better looking than maybe you didn't recognize.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, that's probably why. I'm sorry, man. But next
Deacon
time.
Jones died at age 74, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who want to do the math on that one. But
of natural causes, by the way. In this Southern California home. Again, rest in peace to Deacon Jones. And from the Real Fans Real Talk family, we sincerely send our condolences out to family, friends, fans, and anybody who's just been a supporter or watched Deacon Jones over the years. He will truly be missed. He is a pioneer in this sport of football. So
we get that.
Here we go.
We are back on a live episode of Real Fans Real Talk. R.I.P. Deacon Jones, one of the greatest defensive ends of all time. And getting to more current sports news, the NBA Finals is officially announced. The Spurs will face the Heat. Heat Nation in full effect, and me with Hate Nation in full effect. Trip Yung is already laughing. He already knows what it is. I was hoping.
Darkness prevails.
I know. I didn't say that the Pacers were gonna win. I mean, they did put up a hell of a fight. It went to a 7-game series. LeBron James basically said that the MVP was not enough. He wanted to go for more. And he's going for the Academy Award, ladies and gentlemen, as best actor in an NBA series with that Pacers series. Flop City, you have the LA Clippers as Lob City, the Miami Heat are definitely Flop City. But win any way you can, I guess. He went out there with the acting job. And what do you think, Trip Yung, as far as the Spurs are concerned? They obviously have Greg Popovich, future Hall of Famer. He's got a few rings under his belt. The Spurs are actually 4-0 in the NBA Finals. As far as undefeated, the only team better than that is the 6-0 Chicago Bulls. Another difference, and this is the first time since Popovich is 22 years older than Spoelstra.
That's kind of like our age difference.
Yeah, there you go. It's the largest deficit in age between coaches in the NBA Finals game. Pop has the experience. Spoelstra has more talent on his squad. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, first of all, let me just start off by saying this, because I know you mentioned Miami being flop city and do what you have to do to win. Maybe had your Knicks taken some notes from Miami, they would have been playing them in the Eastern Conference Finals, and then we could have had more of a rivalry. But now it just,
or they should have paid off the refs,
or something.
The refs were definitely weren't on the side of the Knicks.
Yeah,
but
neither was the basket, because they just weren't making shots. But that's neither here nor there, because they're going. Miami's back in the NBA Finals. As far as the coaching matchup, and I have to say this, because they, again, if you guys read my blog, Show and Prove Part 1 and 2, where I broke down the whole playoffs, by Western Conference and by the Eastern Conference, from the beginning I picked the Spurs and Miami to meet up in the NBA Finals, and this was way before Westbrook got injured, and I still picked them to beat OKC, but now, with the two coaches here, all season long, we saw a game of chess being played between these two coaches, which I thought was simply amazing, because here you have Popovich and the Spurs going down to South Beach, and he sits Duncan, Ginobili.
Not just sits them, they weren't even in the building.
They don't even come to the arena. Okay, so that's fine. Boom. So now look what we're going to do. Now Eric Spoelstra comes back. He brings his guys to San Antonio, and what does he do? He sits LeBron and D. Wade. So you don't have a full lineup, versus each other.
And Chalmers too.
And Chalmers, yeah, but so we have not actually seen the Spurs versus Miami this season. I know Miami won the 2 games, but I don't put too much emphasis on the regular season, because the playoffs is a completely different animal. But this is going to be amazing, because Thursday night is going to actually be the first time we see the San Antonio Spurs versus the Miami Heat. And I think that this is going to be, this year, and this is going to be a great series. I'm so looking forward to this, and I'm actually glad that the Spurs were able to get the amount of rest that they did, because I think that that's going to make for an even better series. The fans are really in for a treat. I know already that they're going back to the San Antonio Cleveland series. They're talking about that, Duncan versus LeBron again. So, the headlines are starting to pop up. We've already seen the whole D. Wade, he lost it again. He doesn't have it anymore. Then he came to playing Game 7. So now it's back to, all right, maybe he's kind of back. But I'm really looking forward to this series, Statman. What do you think?
Well, it's definitely going to be, Skip Bayless is picking Spurs in 7. He loves his Spurs, obviously. It's kind of the same thing as with the Pacers series. The Pacers have the ability to beat the Heat. That was a chess match throughout the entire series.
Yes, it was.
It was one win, then this coach makes an adjustment, then that coach makes an adjustment. So Spoelstra and Vogel were going back and forth and making adjustments. And unfortunately, for the Pacers there, the Heat prevailed. But that actually, I want to backtrack a little bit, because one of our fan mail questions that wrote in was pertaining to that Indiana Pacers series. Clinton from New Rochelle writes, if the Pacers have Danny Granger on the floor, do they beat the Heat? It depends on a lot of things. Number one, is Danny Granger coming back halfway through the season? Is he coming in, is he playing the whole season? Because if he plays the whole season, I don't think so. I think that, it decreases their chances, because as we saw a lot of guys step up because of the fact that Granger wasn't there. Granger coming back into the lineup, if he was playing all year, Paul George probably wouldn't have had the all-star breakout season that he did.
Exactly.
So, but if he comes back for the second half of the season, we kind of saw what these other guys can do, then it's a different story. But in the end, Miami's still the favorite. Would Danny Granger have made a difference? Like Face Facts likes to say on the radio show, don't like to take the crystal ball out. There's really no way of knowing. I personally feel that adding, a powerhouse like Granger increases their chances. But once again, it has to do with chemistry and how much time he would have had back in the lineup beforehand. But what do you think, Trip?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I don't think that it makes a difference. If anything, I think that Miami would have won in less games because we saw Paul George really emerge this season as a star in this league, made the All-Star team. If Danny Granger is in the starting lineup, we don't see that this season because he is their best. I can't say right now
Well,
because
if
I
he
don't know.
came halfway through the season, like I was saying before, Paul George
Well,
would have
he's
been an
already
all-star.
asserting himself.
Yeah.
But just the fact that he would be the focus of the team because he's their number one guy when he's on the court, things would have been done differently. And I think that we would have still saw, a series like we saw with the Heat and the Pacers last year where they beat them in 6 games. So I don't think that it makes a difference, Danny Granger being on or off the court. I think Miami still wins.
Key factors, speaking of Paul George, is the fact that LeBron James decided to guard Paul George in that Game 7 as opposed to Dwayne Wade and basically shut him down. So that was a key factor. Another key factor, the turnovers. The Pacers just couldn't handle the ball, and for the first time all season, they got out rebounded on the offensive boards, giving Miami a hell of a lot more of second chance points. That was one of their strong points there. As we see, Birdman. Can we get the camera back? Birdman. Winning the Eastern Conference over there, and as far as the fact that the Miami Heat have won 66 games in the regular season, there have only been 3 teams in the past to win 66 games and not win the NBA Finals. Those are the 08-09 Cavs, who had LeBron James and couldn't win it all, 06-07 Dallas Mavericks, and the 72-73 Celtics. So most of the time you win that many games in the regular season, you're going to go out there and win the title. So, and this is also the first time since Michael Jordan's 96 through 98 Bulls where a team from the Eastern Conference has made it to the NBA Finals 3 years in a row. Of course, the difference is Jordan won all 3 of those years, and of course, LeBron James and company didn't win that first one against the Mavericks. But
that's true. Well, maybe they'll win this year and make it next year. That'll be 4 times in a row.
Possible. It's possible.
Well, yeah, that's a lot later on down the road. My next question on Statman is Chris Bosh. We saw him struggle in this series. Roy Hibbert is not a good matchup for Chris Bosh, or I guess the other way around. Chris Bosh is not a good matchup for him. He was completely out of the series. Even when they tried to get him more involved in the offense in Game 7, he shot 1 for 8 in the first quarter, so he was actually getting more shots. He just wasn't making them. It didn't seem like he was in the series. I know he was trying on the defensive end, but offensively, he did not have it. Where does he stand now in this Spurs series? Do we see a reemergence of Chris Bosh?
Well, that was one of our fan mail questions, actually. Bradley from Suffolk County writes, do you guys think Chris Bosh will come out of his slump in the NBA Finals? And to get into a little bit more detail of what Chris Bosh brings to the table, number one, him and Dwayne Wade got a lot more touches in Game 7. LeBron got significantly less. He got the other guys involved. So even though Chris Bosh is not really putting the points on the board, and obviously Hibbert outsizes him, at the same time, Chris Bosh has that outside shot. So what that does is that clears the lane for penetration. And we saw that with the overtime victory in Game 1, where LeBron James got the easy layup, and Chris Bosh was playing outside. He's capable of that outside shot. So even if he's not draining it, you got to respect it, and that clears up the lane because of the position that he plays. So whether he's going to score points or not in this next series, he's still a factor because he's a threat, and you got to respect the threat even if he's not draining shots. But I do think it's a significant difference between Hibbert and Thiago Splitter coming into this next one. So I think that Chris Bosh will have some more production going into the Spurs series.
Yeah, even with Tim Duncan, they have big guys, but they don't have anyone with the size of Roy Hibbert in San Antonio. Same thing with
size and talent.
Size,
I mean,
yeah,
you
size
could
and
say
talent.
Blair is about that, same.
But he's like 6'8" though. So he's
Hey,
not. Bro, Hibbert, we're talking about somebody that's about 7'1", 7'2", 7'4". Oh, so that's even worse. And then with the size, and you got David West, who's another power guy down there. It was just completely rough for Chris Bosh. And Bosh has actually played well against the Spurs this season. Not that I see him averaging 25 a game this series, but I think he'll be around 16 a game throughout this series. So I think we'll see him actually come back to life when he's not completely being just pushed around.
Over on the, you're saying Chris Bosh will average 16?
Yeah, I think we'll see him averaging 16 in the series.
I'd probably say a little bit more along the lines of 10. I don't really expect too much from Chris Bosh even in this series. But moving along, though, I just want to thank the guys that wrote in. And if you want to know how to write in, it's our email address is fanmail@realfansrealtalk.com. We air live every Tuesday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on BronxNet Television, which is a local TV station here in the Bronx. If you don't have access and you're watching us on YouTube and you'd like to watch the live stream, you could go to our website, realfansrealtalk.com. Go to RFRT Media and the drop-down menu, RFRT TV. It has our archived episodes as well as the live stream for you to check it out. Also, we have our radio show, which airs every Sunday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, directly on our website, realfansrealtalk.com. Also airing on Blog Talk Radio and archived on the iTunes store. So you could check that out as well. We discuss a lot more topics. We got into a lot more depth about a lot of other things that were going on in the sports world. So make sure you check that out every Sunday, 7:30 p.m. You could also like us on Facebook, facebook.com/realfansrealtalk. We post our archived TV and radio episodes on our Facebook page. So make sure you click that like button. We put some funny memes up there, some interesting articles, as well as we post some of the blogs, like Trip Yung mentioned earlier, his blogs analyzing the Eastern Conference and Western Conference playoffs, Show and Prove. You definitely did predict Spurs and Heat, so I got to give it up to you on that one. I mean, I personally felt that OKC would make it. That was obviously before the Westbrook injury. But
the reason I didn't pick OKC is because James Harden was the difference maker last year when they played the Spurs. That was my only issue with that. Had he still been there, I probably would have went with OKC. But I just think that the depth of San Antonio, with the way they were playing this season, and then you take away Harden, who's a big shot guy, I couldn't give it to OKC this year.
Some of the things we talked about on the Sunday's radio show, we mentioned Grant Hill's announcement of retirement, which was right before Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals. And we also talked about Jason Kidd and whether or not he should retire. Apparently, he took the Statman's advice. I hope you didn't get too offended by Jason Kidd. You're one of the greatest of all time, but I felt that he just kind of doesn't have the confidence anymore. As I've been watching him all year, he gets that wide open three, which normally he would take it up with no hesitation, and he's kind of hesitating, some confidence issues over there, and he retires as well. But he goes second all time in both steals and assists behind the great John Stockton. He joins some elite company there, up there on three-pointers made in top 10 on a lot of different categories. So great legend.
He was Mr. Triple-Double in our generation as well. So
I believe it was 16 seasons that he had a triple-double, at least one triple-double every year for 16 straight. That's the most in history, by the way. Nobody else has done that. So
it's unheard of.
Mr. Triple-Double is definitely the right title for him. And
first ballot Hall of Fame.
Oh, without question. I mean, he's got the whether he had the championship or not with the Mavericks, I still think he's first ballot Hall of Famer.
I was glad though that he did get the ring because he deserved one.
Yeah, definitely.
I wish he would have got it with the Nets, but He's a good guy. You know, going back to his
I wish he
original
would
days
have
in
gotten the
Dallas.
second one with the Knicks, but you know.
Yeah, you know, it happens. Maybe he'll come back for the playoffs next year, and he might help the Knicks get. Nah, that's not gonna happen. But we do got some footage from you know, both of these guys' careers, Jason Kidd and Grant Hill. Happy trails to both of them, both great careers. I really hope that Grant Hill makes it into the Hall of Fame. I don't think he'll be a first ballot just because of the injuries and the time missed, but I think that he has done enough over his career to make his way into the Hall of Fame. So I really hope that the writers see it that way and they vote him in.
Yeah, I mentioned a lot more details about Grant Hill's career on our radio show on Sunday. That's on the archives if you want to hear a lot more details about Grant Hill's career. RealFansRealTalk.com is the website. But can we roll the footage of Grant Hill and Jason Kidd? We are back live, Real Fans, Real Talk. I'm Mark the Statman Skevich alongside my co-host, the one and only Trip Yung. That was a little tribute there for the two NBA greats that recently announced their retirement, Grant Hill and Jason Kidd.
And they were actually co-rookies of the year. So they came in together, one rookie of the year, and now they retired together.
They came right after Jordan's comeback, the first comeback that he made. The Rockets were the champions right before. Hakeem Olajuwon MVP. LeBron James was 9 years old.
Who did they beat that year?
The Magic.
Okay, all right. That's when they swept the Magic.
Yeah,
and
you were trying to say who they? No, I'm not even answering.
Oh, you're not.
93, 94, they beat the New York Knicks. So there you go. I believe that he came out actually that 94, 95 year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We got a lot of action going on in the NHL as well. Down to the Final Four, Blackhawks, the Bruins, the Penguins, Statman, because you're the hockey guy, and I know, first of all, shout out to the Rangers. I know you're a little disappointed in that. I'm disappointed as well because I really wanted to see them go further this year, but I know good things on the horizon, especially since they're looking at Messier and Wayne Gretzky to replace and take over that head coaching position. But who are you taking to make it to the NHL Stanley Cup Finals?
Well, I said it on the radio show on Sunday. I'm going with the underdog Kings, and I was going with the underdog Bruins. And at this point, the Bruins are the favorite because they won the first two games. And the last time a team came back from from a conference championship being down 2-0 was back in 1991 when the Penguins actually came back from a 2-0 difference. The huge difference between then and now, the Bruins, the Penguins, the Bruins had home ice. In this case, the Penguins have home ice, and they lost the first two at home. So that's a significant difference from back then. Another thing is, Back then, Jaromir Jagr was in his rookie season playing for the Penguins. Now he's 41 years old playing for the for the Boston Bruins. I mean, that's not really a factor in the series, but I just wanted to throw out that little fact. Jaromir Jagr, one of the greatest of all time, top 10 greatest of all time. He's 8th on the scoring list all time. Former Ranger as well, Jaromir Jagr. Former Penguin, where he played most of his career. They ended up winning the championship that year with the Penguins, and then the following year as well. But I got the Bruins there, and the Kings, I said it on the show, I put a lot of, even though the Blackhawks are heavy favorites in this one, the Kings have that goalie, Jonathan Quick, and when you have a talented goalie like that, it becomes a huge factor in the playoffs. Another interesting factor out of these Final Four, so to speak, in the NHL, all 4 of these were the last 4 Stanley Cup champions. Last year, the Kings won it. The year before, the Bruins won it. The year before that, the Blackhawks won it. The year before that, the Penguins won it. So the last 4 champions are battling it out. I think that's the last time that happened was about 25 years ago. So that's another interesting fact there. But that's my pick. I'm going with the Kings, even though they lost and it's not looking good for them against the Blackhawks, but I still think that they're going to pull it out.
I got to go with the Blackhawks, man. They just had an amazing season, starting off with that record-breaking, streak at the beginning of the season. They had the streak with, goals scored in each game, and they're playing some great hockey right now at the right time. So I'm going with them all the way to the championship. I think this is going to be their year. They go back and take that, going with the trophy.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they're the heavy favorite in this one. I just kind of think that the Kings are going to be able to pull it out anyway, but that's my pick. But you mentioned earlier that the Rangers are looking for another head coach. I talked about it on the radio show on RealFansRealTalk.com, which airs Sunday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The names that were thrown out: Mark Messier, Wayne Gretzky, 2 of the greatest all time. So there's some factors that's involved here. One, if Mark Messier coaches the Rangers, it's, for anyone around 25 or older who's a Rangers fan, it's very hard to hate Mark Messier. Even if they start losing, they're not going to be calling for his head like they do with other coaches. Tortorella, I liked him. I think they didn't really give him the benefit of the doubt. I didn't like some of the moves that he had, benching some of the guys out there, not giving some of the guys the playing time that I feel that they should have deserved. But you also got to take into the fact that you had a lot of young guys, and it was a shortened season. They didn't get enough time to build that chemistry with each other because of the lockout. That was a huge factor. I think another year, he had 1 more year on his contract. I think he should have played it out. I'm not really going to argue if Mark Messier comes to the Rangers, and the factor is, the fact that he is one of the greatest of all time, second in scoring behind first place Wayne Gretzky in all time. It's a lot of respect for the players. The players are going to respect him, and
a lot of those guys
a lot of
looked up to
times
him.
Players don't respect coaches. So in this case, exactly,
Because there's
a lot of
somebody
those players
who
are going to look up to him.
you're looking at, either way, if they go with Messier, if they go with Gretzky, you're talking about 2 guys that majority of the young guys on the Rangers look up to. The older guys have respect for because of who they are. And New York is going to love either one of these guys if they come in. So it'll be great for the fans. The Garden will be lit up again, and they're gonna want to play for these guys because they're winners. You want to play for a winner, somebody who was loved by so many and did what they did, especially Messier, being a real big Rangers guy because he was there for the longest out of the 2. So I like it. Either way, I'm fine with it. I think it's going to be great. And the best thing about it, I did say on the radio, is that he's coming into a good team. He's not coming into a team that didn't make the playoffs, that had a losing record this season. They're a good team. I think that they do need a little bit more time together because of the fact that there's so many young guys on the team. There were a couple of new additions last season with Rick Nash coming in. I just think that this season, to get these guys in the training camp, either one of these guys at coach, and they're gonna be ready to play every night because of who they have leading the pack.
When you talk about respect, even when Wayne Gretzky was playing, he had so much respect by his opponents that, he wasn't one of the guys that was going to get hit. You see Sidney Crosby getting concussions all the time. Wayne Gretzky, you just didn't do that to Wayne Gretzky towards the end of his career. You kind of just respected the man so much that you weren't going to lay him out, to the point where I went to the training facility back in the mid to late 90s. I think it was 96 or 97, and I saw Wayne Gretzky's actual helmet. There's like no foam in there or anything. It's just like
comfortable.
Very lightweight little piece of plastic, and that's it. So it really isn't going to protect his head very much.
He's definitely comfortable. You can't knock it. The man did some amazing things for the sport of hockey, and definitely well deserving. He has his number retired throughout. Obviously, the only other person in sports is Jackie Robinson in baseball, who once Mariano retires this year. That'll be it for that number, and that's retired throughout the sport. So. You gotta respect it. I'd love to see him come to the Rangers.
Real quick, I've said this story before. We're gonna get back to other sports in a little bit, but the reason why Wayne Gretzky wore number 99 is because the number 9 jersey was taken, and number 9 was the great Detroit Red Wing Gordie Howe, and he ended up just doing the double 9, and ended up shattering all of Gordie Howe's records, his idol. So. And, of course, as you mentioned, the jersey is retired by the league. But with that being said, we're going to do an actual tribute to another great who probably should, definitely should, in my opinion, a lot of people's opinions, have his jersey retired, Roberto Clemente, and we're going to be honoring him. We normally do this segment, This Day in Sports History, and we're going to honor Roberto Clemente because of we have the Puerto Rican Day Parade coming up, and a lot of things with that. They're going to have a movie in the future for him as well. So we got a little footage for you guys out there on Roberto Clemente, and if we could roll that, please. Of course, we got the jersey out here on the set as well. So
Roberto Clemente.
Admiration. Despite an unorthodox batting style, the Pirates great won 4 batting crowns and amassed 3,000 career hits. He was equally brilliant in right field, where he displayed a precise and powerful arm. Clemente earned National League MVP honors in 1966, but achieved his greatest fame in the 1971 World Series when he batted .414. Tragically, Clemente's life ended at age 38, the victim of a plane crash while flying relief supplies to Nicaraguan earthquake victims. Clemente was elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1973.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, I'm Trip Young. Of course, this is Mark the Statman Skevich, and you're watching Real Fans, Real Talk. We are live. That was just a little token for Roberto Clemente, another one of Major League Baseball's greats who died way too young at 38 years old. If you were just listening in a plane crash, throughout his career, he was doing a lot of charity work. So he was actually, flying back and forth, making sure, that they had food in his home country and supplies and whatnot. And he wound up being in a tragic plane crash. But as you see over here, we have the Roberto Clemente jersey, number 21, which is actually retired by the Pittsburgh Pirates, which is a great thing. And I know they listed some of his stats on that video, but I'm just going to give you a couple more. 15-time All-Star, 2-time World Series champion, 12-time Golden Glove Award winner. He was a National League MVP in 1966, World Series MVP in 1971, and even outside of the game of baseball, this man did some amazing things. He got a Congressional Medal of Honor. How did a baseball player get the Congressional Medal of Honor? He got the Presidential Medal of Freedom, and these are all awards that were given to him after his death. And of course, he was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame, and he was inducted into the United States Marine Corps Sports Hall of Fame. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to bring a fan on. This is Real Fans, Real Talk, and sometimes we like to get interactive with our fans. So we're gonna bring a fan onto the show for the first time in Real Fans Real Talk history to give you guys a little more enlightenment on Roberto Clemente, what he meant to the sport of baseball as a whole. So without no further ado, Mr. Handel Gomez Abdul Rahim from right here in the Bronx. What's going on?
I get to make the set. Wow, I don't know what it feels like underneath these lights.
How excited are you to be on Real Fans Real Talk today?
I'm actually excited. You know, I'm behind the scenes guy, always running around and taking care, making sure you guys are okay. And then, you know, I get the water thrown at me and all that stuff thrown at me at the end of the show if something goes wrong. So now this time I'm actually...
It's like a Gatorade shower.
Yeah, a Gatorade shower. But I'm actually here and I'm honored to be honored. Roberto Clemente, a pastime of Latino baseball. And Mark, you came out with a really good point about Roberto Clemente's number being retired. And a friend of mine named Julio Pabon, who I'm going to have on the show, he is working really hard to get the number. Oh my God, camera one, coming two. He's working really hard to get this number retired because it does deserve to be retired. And over here, if you see right here, this is a can of beer. It's called Iron City Beer. And there's a story that's called Roberto Clemente, and they honor a lot of people from Pittsburgh, and this is one of the cans. It's number 1 in a series of 4, and it has a story in the back of it. It says, Roberto Clemente was born in 1934 in Carolina, Puerto Rico. The Pirates discovered Roberto hidden in the Dodgers organization, and I'll explain what that means, what happened, and made him their number 1 draft choice in 1955 for only $4,000. $4,000. The best spent $4,000 in baseball history. By 1956, only his second season, he batted .311. Pittsburgh Brewing Co. is proud to be the leading wave as major contributor to the Roberto Clemente Statue Fund. Now, I took a picture when they first did the Roberto Clemente thing, and I was like so honored. But Roberto Clemente, the story is he was in the bathroom. He was stashed in the bathroom in the Dodgers. Because they dealt so much with Jackie Robinson, they were like, oh boy, here we go again. So they changed his name to Bob Clement. His name was Bob Clement. They tried to change his name. And then he was in the bathroom, and then one day, the game goes into extra innings, and what happens? They need a batter. So Roberto Clemente gets up, swings the bat, gets a hit. Instead of stopping at first base, which, you know, he avoided the call from the first base coach, he took off to second and slid head first into second base. From there, that's basically the Pittsburgh Pirate scout was trying to find him and couldn't find him for some time. And then after that, he was also the actual last player allowed to leave of the players. Like, he couldn't be with the other players. Now, you would think after Jackie Robinson's issue, you know, everybody else would understand, but it just, you know, it's amazing how these barriers are and these men who broke these barriers.
It takes a while sometimes.
Right, it takes a while. So when the Pirates found him, that was it. That was history. So a lot of Puerto Ricans and Latin baseball players look up to Roberto Clemente. What they say is when he died in the crash going to Nicaragua, that his soul spread across the land of Puerto Rico, and it blessed all the young people that were playing baseball. And of course, now look what we have. You know, the majority of baseball players to this day are from, you know, Latin America, Puerto Rico, Santo Domingo, Colombia, Venezuela, Mexico. You got Dominican Republic. Mm-hmm. Come on, you got so many players that were born out of baseball. And you know, Fernando Venezuela is another guy that no one ever gave credit to back in the days, and he was what, a Dodger.
Yeah. It was just funny that these Dodgers players, but you know, they have truly, you know, they have done a lot for Roberto Clemente. He's been honored a lot, and it's well deserved. Even, you know, right here in the South Bronx, you have Roberto Clemente State Park. You know, so you know, like I said, he got the Congressional Medal of Honor, you know, the Presidential Citizenship Award. And what I like now, what the league has done is they have actually made the Roberto Clemente Award, which is an award for community service. So hopefully we can get Julio Pabon.
Oh, we're definitely
when we bring him on the show, he'll talk more about it. But it's a great thing for baseball. And we have to do these things where we honor the guys that paved the way and knocked down these walls and these barriers, like a Roberto Clemente, like a Jackie Robinson, which is why I like what Statman said. He's another player that should have his number retired throughout the league.
That's what I do.
Market the mark. If you turn around and look at baseball today, you know, there's so many different. Even Japan is getting involved, you know, and Hideki Matsui is going to be honored soon. You know, Ichiro should be honored before Hideki.
But he's still playing.
He's still playing, so that's why. But now more and more diversity is coming into the game, and it happens in basketball and happened in basketball too. Mm-hmm. You know, they're going overseas looking for talent, and who's the next barrier breaker? What is the next barrier breaker? Well, I just want to say that.
Well, but at the same time, you don't have that as much hate as you did back in the day. Yeah. So it's not like, I mean, we had the news recently with someone coming out of the closet who's not even a talented player,
right?
And they're trying to compare that to a Jackie Robinson, and that's not. You can't do that. You can compare Clemente because he went through the same thing.
He went exactly through the same.
To the bathroom
and you know. Eventually, someone's gonna create
like the Bronx Tale, kind of.
Like the Bronx, right? Eventually, someone's gonna come out with the movie Roberto Clemente, and I want to be part of it. I want Julio Pavon to be part. I want us to be part of it because of our culture of Latin baseball, and not only my admiration to the baseball players in the baseball world, but if you turn around and you look what the dominant baseball players of today. My favorite Yankee right now, you know, in the past also was Bernie Williams because he's Boricua. Not just because he's Boricua, but he represented something. He had class. He always stuck by the team. He was a great team leader.
He wasn't in the news for a bunch of nonsense.
Exactly. You know, and then, of course, you know, you had Manny Ramirez, which at one point I just couldn't stand him because he was a Yankee killer. But you turn around.
At the same time, his attitude. It's not even just the fact that he's a Yankee killer to he's just a horrible.
Yeah, and even though his dominance as a hitter, you have to accept it.
Yeah.
You know, you have to accept the Rafael Palmeiros. You have to, you know, okay, the steroids. All right, no problem. But then, you know, the Cincinnati Reds had a Latino guy too, and they did good. And it just became little by little how more and more they were like, oh, let's go get a Latin baseball player because we need Latin people on the team. And you know what? If you're gonna make a baseball team, put the camera over here.
Yeah.
If you're gonna go to, it's funny how people look at it. If you're gonna make a baseball team, get a Latino player. If you're gonna make a basketball team, get a black player. If you're gonna make a white team, get a hockey player. You know, and it's funny how people separate all this talent because it's amazing how people just start saying, okay, well, this person belongs here, this person belongs here, and this person belongs here, but it's not true. It's just talent.
Yeah, it's just if
wide world talent. Don't make a difference.
You have it.
Who you are, right? Who you are, what color you are, where you come from. If you got the talent, showcase it. And God bless you all the time for what it is. You know, these men are amazing.
I know you're rocking the Clemente jersey, but we're going to have you wear another jersey on top of that.
The referee.
It's about that
Where's
time.
Sean? Yo, Sean, I get a referee.
Before we get into shot for shot, I do have an interesting thing in this day in sports history, since you had the Roberto Clemente beer over there. Today, June 4th, is the 39th anniversary of 10 Cent Beer Night in Cleveland Municipal Stadium.
Can we cut the show short today?
We missed it. Hence his beer. We missed
it. It's the 39th anniversary, and what happened is they actually had to forfeit the game to Texas because a riot broke out. So you can't make beer that cheap.
So there goes that idea, right?
Yeah.
That's like selling beer in the bleachers back in the day. You know, hey, they had a
when the bleacher creatures were the bleacher creatures.
Right, and I'm one of them, you know. And
you go to the Red Sox game, you see a Red Sox getting thrown down the stairs back in those days.
I'm one of the bleacher creatures, so I've come a long way also.
I was definitely there too. It's not the same as it used to be.
Now
it's safer though, so that's
now you get to now they put up a sign, cheer. Boom.
Every now and then you'll get up and get a little golf
clap. You know, you got to put up. Now they have a sign, cheer, clap, boo. Leave the stadium.
Well, with that being said, we're about to start another edition of Shot for Shot. For those of you that aren't familiar with the show, the way it works, we ask a series of 5 questions unless we go to overtime. 1 judge, 2 contested. Honorary judge today is Handel, myself, and Trip Yung will be battling it out. If 1 point per question. Unless we agree, no point is awarded. Whoever he agrees with gets the point. And without further ado, Handel, could you read the first question, please?
Because before I took my talents to South Beach, I was the champ. So now that I'm back, I have to defend my crown.
Well, I don't know about that because I beat Sean Fontaine, so I'm the more current champion. Your title was vacant. You were the challenger. You vacated the title, and I am the current champion.
You got that belt at a catchweight. That doesn't count.
All right,
you
ready?
vacated the title. You retired and came back.
All right, that's
Okay,
fair.
here we go. Shot for shot. Ding, 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 ding. Who's the question first? I
Trip
guess
Yung is the challenger.
to Anthony. Okay. Over and under or 6 games for the NBA Finals. That's a tough one.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go at 6 games. Miami wins it in 6 games.
I'm going to go over and say 7 games. We saw with the Pacers took the Heat to 7. I don't think either one of these teams will be able to win it in less than 7. I think it's going to go all the way to a 7-game series in this one.
Well, I want Miami to get swept. so both of y'all don't know. I'm just playing. I would like to see it go 7 games for the fact, I want to see it to the end because they're both big teams. Do I believe it'll go 7 games? I don't know. I don't think so. I think someone's going to end it, and they're going to end it fast. So I guess, I don't know. It's a tough one because I want to see it go 7 games. But I don't know if it's going to go. So what should I do, guys? How should I vote this? 7 games? I'm going with 7 because I like 7.
Sounds good.
I want 7.
Okay,
I want 7. No, because I want 7. I want 7. I want it till the end. I want to see what happens with 7 games. Who's in a buckle?
One thing I didn't mention also, if you lose shot for shot, you have to wear team apparel of a team that you hate. That's
Sean,
why,
I got your back.
That's why Sean Fontaine is hiding right now because he lost.
I got your back, Sean. I got
he
your
lost on the last episode of Real Fans, Real Talk. I've been known to have a diehard Yankee fan, as you can see. Had to wear Boston dead socks, bum socks, whatever you want to call it.
Creepy.
Yeah, it definitely sucks. And,
Makes it look creepy.
yeah, it's just something wrong with that, me wearing a Red Sox hat. But moving on to the next question.
Okay, here we go. This is for you, right, Mark? You're first.
Yes,
If
sir.
either player decided to unretire and return next season, who would have the better year, Grant Hill or Jason Kidd? I don't think they should both come back.
Well, hypothetically speaking, neither one of them are going to come back. But hypothetically speaking, I would say I think Grant Hill's probably the more talented player, but I'm going to go with Jason Kidd because of the fact that Grant Hill really didn't see any minutes last year. He was playing on the Clippers. Jason Kidd, also because of the position that they play, Jason Kidd could still get a lot of assists. He's still a decent floor general. He might not be able to put a lot of points on the board, but he got significantly more
Leadership.
minutes than Grant Hill did, and he got more points, and he got more assists. He got more stats overall. He got even more rebounds. And the fact that Grant Hill is a forward, I think it's a tougher position to play at an older age. So.
You know what? I'm gonna go the other way on that and say Grant Hill. I know he didn't get as many minutes as I'm sure he would have liked, but that Clippers rotation was real deep. But when he was in the game, he does put up quality minutes. Whereas with Jason Kidd, we pretty much saw him from the All-Star break fade out to the point where once the playoffs hit, he didn't score a single point. He really wasn't doing much of anything else, and it finally came down to him just not even getting minutes as the Pacers series went on. So I'm going to go with Grant Hill.
Well, I watched Jason Kidd play those playoffs, and he didn't do too good. I love Jason Kidd of his leadership and all that, but what I saw, I was like, this guy's got to retire. Start, go behind the booth, do something, get a job, teaching basketball.
He said he was interested in that actually, a media career.
Yeah,
so.
he's got it. I'm going with Grant Hill, just because Grant Hill, he's got to get one in there. He's got to get one in.
Well, they're both not coming back.
Yeah, right.
But I don't. Maybe they go to Europe or Japan and play good over there. I don't know. But Jason Kidd, the way I saw him perform.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that was horrible. That was horrible. So I'm going with Grant Hill, guys.
Next question.
Next question. Which AL East team will be leading the division when the All-Star break hits? Wow. Yeah, I'm a Yankee fan, so I don't know what to say. And the way they
man.
Yeah, we don't.
It's rough
We
'cause
really don't want to tell the truth now.
Yeah, I know. This sucks, but you know what? But I have to be a realist. Just because the All-Star break is gonna creep up on us. I do think that the Yankees will win the division, but I just think that right now they're still hurting because of all of the injuries. You know, we talking about them. They got swept by the Mets in the Subway Series. The Red Sox just beat them in the series. So I gotta be a realist and say the Yankees. As much as my Yankee hoodship does not want me to say that, but I gotta keep it real and be honest with it. I think that the Red Sox will be in first place.
Yeah, unfortunately I gotta agree. We saw what happened. I don't even want to mention it with the Mets, and they just lost the last series to Boston, and you know the All-Star break is around the corner. After the All-Star break, we'll get more of our guys back. We'll end up winning the division when it's all said and done. But as far as the All-Star break is concerned, I don't see the Yankees.
So you guys don't even think that Baltimore or Tampa will creep
No, not at all.
around?
Not
Maybe
at all.
just
They're not doing it, and I know there was a lot of expectations for them to do better this year, but they just haven't shown improvement enough. And I think that, to be honest, with all of the injuries, the Yankees have really played the best baseball this season. They're just in a little bit of a slump right now.
Right.
But I think it would be down to those two.
You know, the way as soon as I walked off the field after working for the Fox game, and I seen that beating the Boston gave us, I said, man, we're in trouble. I guess we both tied up, right? Red Sox.
That's correct. 1-1, and that one we both agreed with. So.
Was Roy Hibbert's 75G fine too much, too little, or just right as penalty for his post-game comments after Game 6?
I think it's. I
want to know where this money goes. They find players. Where the money go?
Well, I mean, it goes to
it goes in David Stern's pocket. No.
Yeah.
But I think it was too much. I don't agree with the comment. I don't find that he said he was stretching him out too much. No homo, referring to LeBron James, and you know it wasn't really funny. I get what it's something that's commonly said. It's not like
all you have to do is listen to a Cameron album.
It's not like he said it like the vulgarities out there, you know, like a gay slur or anything like that. I mean, he was trying to make the joke that he's not, you know, I get the joke, but it just really wasn't funny. It was in very bad taste, and you know, you have to be professional, but at the same time, $75,000.
$75,000.
It's a little ridiculous. It wasn't even a hateful comment.
No.
In any shape or form. So
what do you think, man?
Well, I'm gonna disagree, and I'm gonna fast forward. And here's my reasons why. I mean, I know you guys are saying it's a lot of money, $75,000. That may be a lot of money to us, but to guys that are making millions of dollars, that's not a lot of money to him. Kobe was fined $100,000 when he made those kind of comments. You have to put a stop to that. You have to nip that in the bud. And on top of that, it wasn't even just the no homo thing. It was all of the cursing that he was doing prior to that. So you're talking about a combination of all that. So I think it was fair.
Wow. Fair. A lot of money. I guess they didn't even shake hands either, right? Something like that.
He just walked off the.
So you know what? He deserves to get fined. I'll go with the fine.
All right. Well, we got.
They should have got fined. They should have got fined.
We got to keep this last one because we don't have time.
Here we go.
Quick one.
Because I know how it feels to have to tell you guys to make it fast. Who was more to blame for the Pacers' Game 7 loss? Roy Hibbert, Paul George, or Frank Vogel? Wow. Anthony?
Can I say LeBron James?
Yeah, you can because he took it to the next level.
If we're talking about those three, I would go with Paul George. I know he had LeBron on him, but he did not show up, and he fouled out. He had some really bad fouls to foul out, which I didn't like. So I'm gonna say exactly. I'm gonna say Paul George.
I can't blame Vogel, and I can't because he made his adjustments after every game. I can't blame Paul George because, I mean, he was shut down, but at the same time, I'm going to go with Roy Hibbert, number one, because of the comments that he made earlier, kind of took the focus out Aside from that, he didn't show up either. So the combination of the team getting that bad publicity because of the stupid comment and his play in Game 7, I got to go with Hibbert.
Well, he actually had 18 points and 8 rebounds.
Well,
George had like 7.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna go with George because Hibbert, even though he got fined, but still, I'm gonna go with George.
The champ is here.
What was I thinking?
The champ is here.
No.
Well, we gotta wrap things up, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us, Real Fans, Real Talk. For myself, Trip Young, Mark the Statman, Skevich Handle. Thanks for coming on to the show.
Thank you.
And
Shout out
quick thank you. Shout out to Wifey Boo Serena at the French Open. She's still killing them. And thank you to the committee at the Betas because Real Fans, Real Talk has been nominated for 2 Beta Awards this year. So salute to you guys.
Hello.
And we will see you next week, same time, same channel right here live on BronxNet. Check us out on the web, realfansrealtalk.com, fan mail at realfansrealtalk.com, and on Facebook, facebook.com/realfansrealtalk.
Rest in peace,
Have a
Abraham
good night, everyone.
Gonzalez.
Brooklyn Beats and Bands nominated as well. Check it out on realfansrealtalk.com.
All right. That's a wrap.
All right. See what happens when you're not up there, Handle? I know we're still being recorded, but where's our theme music? Statman needs his theme music. RealFansRealTalk.com. With Orthodomus Trip Young and intern Tom for the white and black fans, Asia to Manhattan. I get all my facts from my bro Mark the Stats Man. If you're not tuned in, I recommend the CAT scan. And if your brain checks out, then you deserve a backhand. Sports, gossip, all the hot topics. RealFansRealTalk.com got it. We got the hottest bloggers. Is Jeremy Lin hurt? Nah. We'll log onto the site and you can hear from them first. I'm talking about the latest. I'm talking about the greatest. Go check out the archives. Even tell a neighbor. I think my mic's still on. That's why we kept the song going.
Good show, though.